the router 2's configuration until here, and then we can paste this configuration on the router 2 CLI. So easy. Then the router 3, okay, the router 3's configuration until here. Okay, we can copy this configuration and paste on the R3 CLI. Very good. And the next router is the router 4. This is the router 4. Let me to copy the configuration of router 4. After that, we can paste it on the R4 CLI. This is the R4 CLI. So easy. And then we need to configure the router 5. This is the configuration of router 5 here. Okay, look at here, very good. And then the router 6, copy the configuration of router 6. This is the configuration of router 6. And then the router 7, this router, copy the configuration of R7, paste it here. And then the router 8, this is the R8 configuration, copy and then paste here. Then the router 9, this is router 9 configuration, then paste it here. And finally the router 10, this is the R10 configuration, copy and paste on the R10. So easy. Okay, now first we should verify the configuration until here. After that we can continue this scenario. For example, in the router 4 as the mapping server and mapping resolver of the Lisp site 1 and Lisp site 2, we can use show Lisp 1 site. Okay, means please show me the site of the Lisp instance 1. Look at here. In Lisp instance 1, you know that we have 3 sites. The first site is SP1 XTR5, this site. Here, as you can see, we receive from the router 1 two address, two EID prefix. The first is 5551/32, the loopback of the router 5, and the second is 10150/24, the link between router 1 and router 5, and it's okay. Okay, let me to show you the SP1 XTR9 means this. For example, VRF, as you can see, again we receive two addresses from the router 3, 9991/32, the IP address of the loopback 1 of the router 9, and then 10390/24, the link between router 3 and router 9. Also, from the site SP1 means service provider 1 MSMR7, here we learned 7771/32 and then 10270/24. From the router 2, this is the link between the router 2 and 7, and also loopback 1 of router 7. It's okay. Also, let me to show you show Lisp 2 site. This means that which Lisp site available in the Lisp instance, for example, to Lisp site 2. Look at here, as a Lisp instance 2. Look at here, SP2 XTR6, this Lisp site. As you can see, we learned from the router 1 with the instance of 2, 6661/32, the loopback of router 6, and then 10160/24, the link between router 1 and router 6. So easy. After that, we learned about the SP2. Look at here, SP2 MSMR8 means this network. 2 EID prefix 10280/24, the link between router 2 and router 8, and after that 8881/32, the loopback of the router 8. Okay, from the router 2. Then from the SP2 XTR10, we learn 10310/24, this link, and also 10101/32, the loopback of router 10. Everything seems good. Okay, from the R5, let me to send traffic to the R7 and R9. Now we expect to have connectivity between the router 5, router 7, and router 9, and also router 6, router 8, and router 10. First, starting from the router 5, ping the 10272. This is the IP of 77. This is the IP address of the ETH00 of the router 7, 10277. After some second, we need to wait. Okay, we expect to have connectivity. Yes, we have connectivity, and then ping 10. For example, look at here, this IP address, the ETH00, 1029, then 9. Okay, again, we need to wait some second. After some second, look at here, this is the IP address of the here is the R5. It's okay, and we expect to have connectivity to the 10399, not 10299, 10399. Look at here, after some second, as you can see, we will have connectivity. Now it's okay. Also, from router 6, we expect to have connectivity to the router 8, 10 2 8 8, okay, and after that to the router 10 10 3 10 10, okay, ping 10 3 10 10. It's okay. Look at here, we have connectivity. Also let me to check from the router 9 and router 10, or because this is important for us. From the router 9, this is router 9, we can check the connectivity only to router 7 10 2 7 7. Look at here, we need to have connectivity. After some second, yes, now we have connectivity. From the router 10, we expect to have connectivity with the router 8. This is important for us. 10 for example 2 8 8. Look at here, from the router 10, if we have connectivity, means the parallel network virtualization now is working and we don't have any problem. Very good. Now the next step of this of the scenario is starting. The next step is the shared model. It is easier. You know that now we have connectivity from the R7 to the from the R5 to R7 and R9, and you know that the R7 is the MSMR for the R5 and also R9. The configuration is so simple because here we have only one loopback IP address, and with that loopback IP address we are sending two instance. For example, instance the VRF-A and VRF-B. Here we don't need to use different RLOC IP address for different for example VRF. We are using only one RLOC IP address for two VRF, and this means that this is a shared model. You learned about the shared model in the previous videos. Okay, let me to show you the configuration of the next part of our scenario. From the router 5, we can start the configuration. First, enconf-t hostname XTR5. You know that until now we configured the ETH00 of the router 5, and also we have one default route on the router 5. Here we need to configure two VRF, because here, as you can see, we have two customer, VRF definition A and VRF definition B, address family IPv4 unicast, address family IPv4 unicast. Very good. Interface ETH00, no shutdown. Here I configured this interface before and we don't need to configure it again because we assigned one IP address to this interface. Let me to remove this configuration. Interface loopback 1. This is the only interface that or the only IP address that we are using this IP address for as the RLOC, and you know that this IP address is residing in the locator table default, means into the VRF default. Okay, and then interface ETH01. Here, this interface, VRF forwarding A, means this interface is residing in VRF A. Then the IP address is 192.168.152.552.552.550, and no shutdown. Also, interface ETH02, this interface, VRF forwarding B, member of VRF B. IP address is 192.168.152.552.550, and then no shutdown. Two interface, ETH01 and ETH02. Also, let me to use one Lisp instance. You know that we need only to use one Lisp instance because we have only one locator table. Let me to here use locator table default. What is the meaning of locator table default? Means we are using the global for example routing table, because here we don't have any VRF, okay, in the RLOC space. IPv4 ITR, IPv4 ETR, IPv4 ITR map resolver 7771. This is the IP address of the loopback 1 of the router 7, and then IPv4 ETR map server 7771 key Cisco. So easy. Then EID table VRF 8, this VRF. I'm using instance ID of 1, instance ID 1 for the VRF A and instance ID 2 for the VRF B. You can configure different instance ID. You know that in the R1 also we used instance ID 1 and for the SP1 and instance ID 2 for SP2. This is independent from the instance IDs that we are using in the R5 side. Because of that, if you want, you can configure different instance IDs. But I'm going to show you this is not have any relevance to the instance ID of router 1. Because of that, I'm going to use the instance ID of 1 for the VRF A and instance ID of B, 2 for the VRF B. Let me to write here IID. This is the for example IID1. I'm going to write here for easier understanding. Here we have IID1 instance ID of 1. Also in the other side, let me to show you, this is the EIID1 for the customer A, VRF A.